Thank you for being here so much. It's really a pleasure to have you here at this really big event. And now, this is a very different kind of a conference, I feel. Not many times we talk about the intersection of sports and business, but as the commissioner in the NFL, why are you here today talking about this intersection, and why do you believe it's important to have these conversations about the connection between sports and business?
Well, I think sports is really become a big business, and I think people view it differently. Some view it through an investor's eye, and so they think about PE, and others think about it as just their love, right, and their passion. And that's the one we spend most of our time on, but obviously I have to spend a lot of my days talking about sports and business and looking at how sports is as a business and how it continues to grow and how we look at the various challenges that surround us and how we're going to continue to have that kind of a growth cycle that we want. And I think sports are very unique because it's not a business. It is very much a passion, and the reality is, you're involved with something that everyone cares about, and you're relevant to not just as a business but as society. And I think that's one of the things we've really tried to understand is our role in society and influence and what we can do in our communities as well as now globally.
I want to talk about fans a little bit. I know it's not a topic of discussion for panels, but I really see it as a through line. We just keep coming up in conversation. And I would say the NFL fan has evolved immensely alongside, digital technology and new fan practices. I mean, fantasy sports going from something maybe you did in your basement with a few friends to something millions and millions of Americans do, or the legislation on sports betting. I wonder, how do you see these influences shaping NFL fandom, and what does the future of NFL fandom look like from your perspective?
Well, I always like to say it's never been a better time to be a fan because they have such great access. Sadly, when I was your age, I had to wait till Monday night to see highlights. Literally, that's what it was. And so now, obviously, everything's immediate. Everything is new technology that provides that access that I could only dream about. I probably couldn't even dream it. But I think that's great for our fans, ultimately. And it's also a really great tool to be able to find new fans and to be able to use these platforms and these technologies to be able to bring new people into your game. We can send things to our fans halfway across the world. You couldn't do that. So I think that the ability of us to be able to reach our fans and engage our fans and provide that access is something that's a great advantage for all of us in sports.
But I'm sure it goes hand in hand with international expansion as well.
It sure does.
Yeah.
It makes it easier when, particularly for us, where we're not an international sport. We're trying to get people to obviously understand it. We're playing games, we're having media platforms. But I can remember 30 years ago going over and trying to get on television. We got on television, but it was about 2 o'clock in the morning on a public station. Now, live is everything. And I think that's one of the great advantages to sports, particularly as you look at it as a business. Live it distinguishes it from all entertainment, ultimately.
So you've talked about how this changes and evolutions of the NFL and sport in general, and now this conference is called Next Level Sports. So what exactly does next level look like for the NFL in terms of the sport itself and as a global business?
Well, you have to look at that 2 ways. I think where the business or the league is going to go itself is global. I think it's our biggest opportunity to continue to bring new fans into the game ultimately, and also to play our game. But you always have to look at, and I hesitate to say it this way, but we call it the game, but it's your product ultimately. And if your product isn't competitive, attractive, relevant, it's something that wants to draw people in. And we like to say football brings people together ultimately. I think sports do in general to a large extent, and have impacts on communities in the world that are far beyond what a normal business can do. And I think that's where I think we have to build as people in sports, as the NFL. That's what we're focusing on. How do we continue to engage people in a way that I don't think anybody else can do? And as you look at the business side of it too, advertising is different, right? Advertising is now global. So that's going to be a big factor going forward. So I think as a business, you need to be global. You need to be able to use the technology that's out there. I think AI will change us just like it changes everything else. And we're looking at that, how it changes our game and how it changes our business. But at the end of the day, I like our position.
I even want to pull on the tech thread a little bit, sort of thinking about the new tech new to the NFL tech for first down measurements this year that's sort of been implemented in sports like tennis and stuff like that in the past. How do you anticipate this new technology will continue to be integrated into the league? Do you expect to be at the forefront of using these new technologies? How important is it to take cues from other sports and other leagues? All that sort of stuff.
I think you learn from everything. Yeah. That's number one. But I think you also have to embrace technology, and I think we have. We were the ones who brought instant replay into sports, and it was a rough ride. You know, getting through that. We had it 1 year, took it away another year. There's so much about the development of technology that you have to. It's challenging, and it's challenging in different sports. And for us, I think AI is going to play a big role in officiating at some day. I believe that will be a very important tool and a very important way for us to evolve our game, because I think fans want to see the right call. On the other hand, a lot of fans, even with the measurements, they'd rather see the chain crew come out. And that's where you get into a classic argument about innovation versus tradition. And when you have a successful organization, the challenge is always to innovate, but not let go of that tradition. And that's really important in the context of growing a business and making sure that you do it the right way.
We've talked a lot about these innovations, but we also define the NFL as more of a passion. How do you walk that fine line of keeping the NFL as a passion while also making these innovations and new changes to keep fans engaged while not deterring them away and keeping that passion alive?
I think when you bring fans closer to the game using technology and innovations, you're going to just increase that passion level. You're going to bring them closer to the game, closer to the players, closer to what happens in the off season that we haven't really ever focused on. And we look at a calendar, a year-round calendar of football, obviously not games, but the draft or the combine or our schedule even is now become event, youth football and flag football. And how do we get more kids playing our game on a global basis? Young women playing flag football is a great thing for us. And I think it's a great thing for young women. So we're really excited about the future and sharing our game with the world. And I'm not worried about the passion level, except it never goes as fast as you hope.
So we have a lot of young professionals here today. We keep hearing this story about you writing letters to all 28 teams at the time when you were hoping for an NFL intern job. And I wonder if you have advice for young professionals today who are sort of navigating a very different media and professional landscape.
Well, I'm always a little cautious there because everybody's journey is different. I knew I wanted to work for the NFL, or I was passionate about it at a very early age. That doesn't happen for a lot of people. You know, there's that journey of figuring out what you want to do. At one point, I thought I wanted to be a banker. I did an internship and found out I didn't want to be a banker. But yeah, I think the real key for young individuals is to get experience, to take advantage of the opportunities to do internships and externships and meet people and develop relationships. Technology is to your advantage. But remember also, you're the one responsible for your career. No one else is. And you have to be the one who are active in those decisions, even when you get into an organization. I always looked around me all the time about where's the challenge. If I wasn't learning something, I wasn't challenged, I was looking around to see where else I could get involved. And that was sort of my barometer. If I wasn't learning and I wasn't doing something that was challenging and helping me grow, or something that was important to the organization, I was thinking twice about it and how could I move, sometimes internally, sometimes externally. But my story is different. I've had 2 professional careers, one in the steel industry for a very short period of time, and then the NFL. And I couldn't be happier, prouder. This is my 44th season. But you have to manage your career. You have to grow within wherever your organization is. And I think that's by taking on the right challenges and understanding there's something bigger than yourself. And your job is to figure out how to create value and how to make that better, whatever it is, whatever business.
Great.
I could give you all the things your parents probably told you about hard work and discipline, and they all count an awful lot too.